This is how you attack with Winston on Dorado. Hey, what's up everyone? AceOFSpades here, back with part 2 of the Winston Dorado guide. So we just went over the defense. Now we're gonna go over the attacking part. So yeah, let's go over it as fast as possible and get you guys ready for the competitives. All right, so heading into the Dorado, we're gonna be starting off with attack, from the bottom ground here. Gonna be pushing the cart. What I like to do is always try and see, usually somebody will be playing up on this red high ground and you just want to jump up there. The thing with jumping up here is you want to be sure to be jumping onto like the corner, because you want to be able to drop down as fast as possible, right? There's a lot of times where I'll watch like a monkey player and they'll be like, oh yeah, I need to contest, red, but they don't know exactly how to do that, or they think like jumping like this is going to be like the best way to contest it, right? Then they jump up here, then they get booped in, or they get shredded way faster than they thought, and then they're gonna die before they get down. So best case, you just want to jump up, do your corner jumps to be able to contest or drop right here, and then you can always just drop down easily. So that's where you want to do for like your first jump. See what they're up there, let your team push cart a little bit. But on the second jump, that's where it comes a little bit more versatility versus I don't know, different. You can jump however you want. There's 2 spots. So after you're starting to push cart up, there's either going to be right here to the right side or to the left. So depending on where they're positioned, every single match is going to be different depending on what they're running. If they're doing matching with the Winston, if they're going to be doing like a brawl rush comp, all that stuff, you might not be able to jump up left side all the time. But always be looking for one engage here, and then you can look for getting on their back line. Or the second part is, once you push cart up a little bit, you can come right here and then look for your engage from here to contest high grounds, get on their supports, get on their DPS. So those are probably the 2 that you're going to want to look for. A lot of the times a DPS and a healer will be playing like in this corner here. So it's kind of good. It's kind of like the same thing as the red jump that you did. When you jump, you're not going to want to be like, hey dude, I'm going to go all the way in here and go for an attack. Yeah, you might be able to have the mega there, but they can just drop down and kill you. For the first jumps, when you're trying to take space with Winston, always make sure you're doing like like a short little corner jump at the farthest end, because you can still get your land damage, still get your zap in. If nobody comes up here, then sure, you can push a little bit farther, take space, but it just allows you to be able to drop down, hide, get out when you want to do like the initial dives. So you don't always have to fully commit on a dive every single time. Just doing a little short, test the waters, see if they're there, get out some utility, and then go back in on the next jump. So that's what you want to look for on the first point. And let's go ahead and let's say, so first point, bang, you get them off here. You engage them, so you'll probably end up being on like the left side, I would say, after if you're pushing carts. You can always be looking for a dive onto their like top left here. So engaged, you took this point, so you're probably going to be looking to get over here, try and spam them as they try and come through the choke, so you can still contest this left side. With Winston, after you win the fight, you always want to be looking to position as far forward as you can while still being in LOS of your healers. If you win the first fight and they're coming out of spawn, probably not the best idea to come here and try and spam them out, because you're just going to take a lot more damage, risk of getting completely shredded by the time you can jump out. So don't really go, I wouldn't say go too far. If you win first fight, playing like right here is, perfectly fine to be able to make sure you can test the point, kill the people that are contesting, and you know, you can even body block them to not get through. So yeah, I think that covers most of the first point there to here. Yeah. So the second point is a little bit more tricky, because there's, you know, multiple places that you might have to be contesting as Winston. So let's say we'll just go through. So cards can be pushed up a little bit. I'd say it's not the worst idea to push card as far as you can on the first engage. So after you know, cap, just chilling with the card, having your supports and stuff play under the awning out of LOS, and you're just, you know, being the one contesting card till they contest. You know, you can force them out, and then, you know, even if they take the fight, you can hopefully get it to, you know, pretty far under bridge, and then it's one fight territory. But what you will be wanting to do to look for as Winston is engaging the high ground, and it's the same thing as first point, where look for the short engage, right? The only time you're going to want to look for like a hard engage is if you're going to be like, hey, we're doing Nano Winston, or we're doing like Nano Blade. So you want to be able to do like a hard engage with them. If you're comboing with another character, then doing the super far aggressive dives is ideal and what you'd want to be doing. But if you're just trying to go up there, take space, get some poke, just making sure you're on like the corner when you land is more than enough. Because unless you know, drop down, not die, is the biggest thing with the tank, is not dying when you want to do your engages and not like overextending and stuff. So always do short dives, drop down, heal up, you know, build some ults, and then when you have a combo, then you can look to hard engage. Let's say most times on Dorado there's going to be, you know, sniper city, so a widow might be up here to start. So let's say, you know, there's probably going to be Hanzo up here, widows right there with their tanks just destroying your team as they come through. One of the best ways to counter that is when you're going to be contesting through here, you want to try and force out yellow first. So you'll force out here, widow, you know, will come back to this side, then, you know, you can go ahead and come across here, and you can still get your, you know, zap damages, force them back off a little bit off of this corner from here, because if they see you here, one, they're gonna maybe try and like turn and like shoot you, but then, you know, your DPS should have line of sight. And then if not, which a lot of the times, if you know you're coming this way, they're not going to see you, you can get like a pretty fast engage here onto like, we know, like squishy a support, something like that, maybe catch them off guard, and then, you know, you're taking the fight from there. So let's see, I think that covers at least like those first initial spot. Bang bang bang, probably contesting, pushing the payload here. So once you get to around maybe like under the bridge, they're gonna be probably contesting from the far right or the top left. Top left is a lot easier for your team to get to, so I'd always say, as like Winston and stuff, trying to contest this side first against snipers is probably one of the most like more ideal spots. And the reasoning for taking this side opposed to the top left is that this side has a way better angle on to like the cart and to where your supports are going to be playing. So trying to shut down this side and not give, you know, LOS from like the enemy DPS is a lot better, because if they were to push out like top left, then you can definitely see them from here, and then that's just, you know, one jump away once, you know, they've hard engaged. So I'd say always try and take the right side more ideally, and then you can always just take the left if that's what the way that they end up pushing out. But shutting down the one avenue is way better than just doing nothing, like, you know, playing point not very good because then you're giving up both spots. So shutting down one forces them to either go middle or top left, and then once they do that, then bang, you know, you can go. So I think that mostly covers what you want to do with the Winston on second. So then moving into third, kind of self-explanatory. You're gonna want to look for the dives out there. There's not very many spots. They're always going to be, you know, either on that bridge or, you know, farther back there. So instead of, I guess, pathing, I guess we can talk about, you're not going to want to just walk like this and then, you know, go for engage, right? You want to try and do it the shortest distance without taking damage. So let's say you want to do it, so it's just going to be like short, bang. Like you're not going to want to take, you don't want to be out in the open before you jump, because then people are going to be able to spam you out. You're going to take damage. Maybe you have to waste your bubble before you jump. Not very ideal. So always want to be looking to play corners, hide as much as possible, and then look for your engage as fast as possible once you see and you want to take some space. So you don't always have to jump onto like a support. Jumping up and taking space, 100% perfect for, you know, any Winston play. Because then from here, you know, you can drop down, let your team walk up, advance, and it's just like you have so much like presence, because a DPS isn't going to try and solo kill you. And you can just force them, you know, back into their team. Once they do that, you have all this space for free. So yeah, I think taking this is the most ideal. So jumping from there, you're not gonna want most of the let's say most of the time you're not gonna want to try and like come top right here and just push out with your team from this, because this doesn't really give much value to Winston. Winston gets his value from doing his jump, leap, engage. So if your team wants to push up from this side, right, then you would just do like a countdown, be like, hey, I'm jumping top in 3, 2, 1, bang, I'm going, and then they push out at the same time. So using communication key. As always with Winston, and you always probably want to do that jump rather than pushing out, you know, up top left here, because you're just taking all this spam damage while getting 0 value with the Winston. So yeah, always be looking for that. Let's see, I think that's most of attacking on the third point, you know. Yeah, because I mean, once you hold them to a corner, then playing up close, perfectly fine. You can play either side, stopping a DPS from coming this side. Yeah, I'd say probably this position is probably the best to stop a contesting spot. And the reason is a lot of DPS will come out from this side, and the tanks probably come out from like main with the healers. But playing this spot will stop, you know, a Widow getting a free pick, a Hanzo getting a free pick on your supports that are playing, and forcing them to come out main. So always trying to shut down one angle, way better than, you know, just playing out in the open and doing nothing and waiting for like a reaction play. So you always want to be proactive, as we keep on saying with the tanks, and this is probably one of the better positions to do on a retake, because you can still contest cards, stop any DPS coming from this way, force them main, and then that's just easy for your team to do easy pickings. So yeah, I think that is the attack on Dorado with the Winston. So hope it was helpful for you guys. If you aren't subscribed, please do that. We're just starting out on, like, you know, YouTube and trying to make these guides every week. So yeah, much appreciated. And till the next video. Peace.